back to another episode of Connect the Dots, a place where we share experiences, build relationships, and learn how to cope with our everyday challenges. My name is Ezra White, and in today's episode, I am joined with three other members, Greta, Carl, and Kylie. So if we can all go around the room and introduce ourselves, let's just say your name. Starting with from my left.
Hi, my name is Kreda Mizutani.
I'm Carl.
And I'm Kylie.
And in today's episode, we will be discussing the SLC, or also known as the Student-Led Conference, which is an annual conference held by Guide Dogs of Hawaii every year for the benefit of those in elementary, middle to high school, and college students. Okay.
We cut it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
So, before we start the, because we forgot to do this, we forgot to clap.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning how to read waveforms, so it might not be too bad.
All right. So, who's the interview we're doing first?
We can do Kratos.
Oh yeah, just go.
Yeah.
We'll just go down the line.
Sequentially. Yeah. Okay, go for it.
So first, we're going to begin with Kreta. I'm going to be asking her a set of questions because this is her. She's been to the SLC a few times now, so I'm sure she picked up a few things from that. So Kreta, when was the first time you went to a student-led conference?
The first time I went to a student-led conference was 2016.
2016, and you've been to every conference since?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For 2016, just one.
Mm-hmm. But you went to 2017 and 2018.
Yes.
And what have you gained from the past 3 years? Past 3 conferences you've been to?
From the past few conferences that I went to, I gained a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I learned that GDH will give us like technologies and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and they would help us with like guide dogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Jeannie also talked about her dog, which is Luke.
Mm-hmm.
That he was the one that, well, he always happy.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he happy, he shook his tail.
Have you learned anything about blindness and advocating for blindness?
Yes, I did.
And in your opinion, how do you think the student-led conference could benefit blind and visually impaired individuals?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you think people could take away, blind individuals could take away from this conference?
Like for my family,
Mm-hmm.
like they never know about like anything about blindness.
Mm-hmm.
So they just, like, when I went to the conference, they see that I can go to like any activities
Mm-hmm.
or any conferences.
Mhm.
But the first time they were afraid, they were saying that I cannot go. And then I told them I'm sure I can go to those programs.
Oh, right on. And it encouraged them to see all these blind people doing everyday activities and to have belief that you can be the same way as everyone else, yeah?
Yeah. And then on August, I invited my grandma
Mm-hmm.
to observe, and she was amazed by those.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greta, so much.
You're welcome.
So next we're going to move on to Carl, and he will also be giving his experiences because I knew Carl for a few years now. The first time I met him was at the student-led conference. So let's begin. So Carl, how long have you been attending the SLC?
I've been attending SLC since 3 years ago.
Yep.
Actually, I think correction. I think it was the other way around. I think you met me.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue. Sorry about that.
2 years, right? And then, what have you gained throughout the past 2 years from the SLC?
Um, hmm, I gotta think about that one. Sorry about
I
that.
know.
Okay, so the first one that I would say is the biggest one because there's levels. I think it would have to be the ability of people because I'm from a place where the age gap is so big in the community.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure, but I will say during that time, the first time I went, the youngest person at community events we had for visually impaired or blind people were first, second graders,
Mhm.
and it would jump. There was some people they're, I don't know, 20 years old, or they're looking for jobs.
Mhm.
It's a very different. I guess the way I would put it is it's a very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what I'm really trying to say is I didn't have anybody that was a role model for me that was in my shoes or was slightly ahead of me, but not too far where I can't really relate.
Mhm.
The second one that I would gain for sure is meeting people, making connections. Like I said, I didn't have the community that I thought that I needed,
Mhm.
and I met you, a few other people,
Yeah.
and I think that really gave me the strength to say, "Oh, they do it too," right?
Exactly.
We all really need an example because sometimes you just think because you haven't seen it, it just doesn't exist.
Mhm.
But seeing is believing. You gotta be there to really experience that.
Mhm. Right on, bro. That's all. So the SLC has benefited you in many ways, from leadership. Like, has it taught you leadership skills, like communication, networking?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a form to speak,
Mhm.
and and it makes you think your words are important.
Yeah.
Leaders are always the ones with the choice words, but they're also the people who have the right words. So
Mhm.
it teaches you that whatever you say has depth and meaning to it, and it always should have. You shouldn't say things that you can throw away.
Yeah.
And especially as a leader, you don't have the time or the, I guess, the value in other things to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right on. And in your opinion, what do you think, or how do you think that the student-led conference could benefit other blind and visually impaired individuals who are just, I guess, becoming blind? Or how can the student-led conference encourage new blind or visually impaired people to move past the fact that they're blind and to continue making a mark on this world?
Oh, definitely. I really see the potential in having SLC
Mhm.
help the newer people.
Yeah.
Because it's very disorienting and you're really not familiar with certain things that are normal.
Yes.
For people that are already in the community, they already know quite a lot. They already know what are the clock positions or some things.
Mhm.
For example, what are some technologies that can help them?
Yeah.
Because they've just been exposed to it. They've been around longer.
Mhm.
People who are new get to learn from that. They get to sit down and have a connection with somebody too.
Mhm.
They're not just reading. They're not just reading information off a website or something like that. Second, you really need people to be there with you
Mhm.
that really understand. People will say that nobody understands them. the people are out there,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the kind of things that allow you to recognize that. Because it's very true that we are a minority. There's not a lot of us.
Oh yeah.
On the grand perspective, anyways, there's 7 billion people in the world. I don't know what it'll be in the next month or year or so, but that's a lot of people, and we're just all trying to make it in this big old sea, right?
Thank you so much, Carl, for answering those. Really, really good answer.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And next we have Kylie, who I met, I believe it was last year's student conference. I came up to her. I was introduced to her by another companion, I guess. Yeah. So Kylie, how long have you been attending the student conferences?
I believe I started last year attending, and so that was last year, and then this just passed one this year.
What were your first impressions?
First impressions, I think the thing that hit me first was the fact that just seeing all of these blind and visually impaired students. I mean, because when I was going to school, you know, elementary through high school, I wasn't really aware that there were kids that were visually impaired and blind like me.
Yeah.
Like I kind of knew that they were there because I went to social activities when I was really young, but there came a point where, you know, that needed to stop and you know, because of school. But just to see all these new things that were coming out, all these things that I wish I had when I was going to when I was going to school, and I'm still going to school. So I mean, but yeah.
Yeah. And what have you gained from going to the student-led conferences for the past 2 years?
Well, the reason I started coming to student-led conference was because they had asked me to volunteer to make the slideshow. So like a lot of your guys' pictures from going to camp and you know activities throughout the year, and I got to put it together. And I remember when I saw that up on the screen, you know, when we got it playing at SLC, I was just feeling. I don't know if it was fulfillment or it was something good, something that made me think that, you know, I wouldn't mind doing that kind of thing. I mean, I love, you know, the fact that I could use some kind of talent that I had to serve the blind community.
Awesome. And in your opinion, how do you think the student-led conference could benefit other blind or visually impaired individuals?
Well, I think that, as others have said, like knowing that you're not alone, you know, knowing that there are a bunch of other people out there, people that you can turn to for help, people that, you know what you're going through and then can offer, you know, some form of advice and point you in the right direction.
So true. Very true. Well, thank you so much, Kylie, for participating in this. And the student-led conference it's a really amazing place. I met a lot of good friends, you know, such as Carl and Kylie from the student-led conference.
And Freda.
Oh, and Greta, yes. Kind of forgettable.
Oh, well, you met me at a peer group.
Yeah. But actually, I got to know you more, yes. So see. But so, if you are a client, if you are a resident of the state of Hawaii, and you are blind or visually impaired, please sign up to be a client of Guide Dogs of Hawaii, and hopefully we can see you at one of these conferences because it truly is a place that you can network and connect with people just like yourself. Because the student conference is also where I learned a lot about myself and my blindness, and I believe it really changed my perspective of this whole blind thing and everything that has to do with it. So, to wrap this all up, I wanted to express my deepest mahalo, my deepest thanks to everyone who participated in this episode, and for everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in again. If you have any questions, comments, please email connect the dots at guidedogsofhawaii.org. and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So stay tuned to the next episode, and I'll see you all there. Mahalo.